Hey everyone, I'm Taylor and my presentation today is on exercise and how to prescribe it for obesity and kind of what happens with exercise in people who are obese. First article I looked at made more of an emphasis on energy expenditure being the main goal for weight loss no matter what exercise modality you choose. And this is included because its main thing is energy expenditure. Greater energy expenditure results in weight loss due to the physiological and cellular mechanisms that accelerate the breakdown of glycogen and triglycerols. Exercise also speeds up glycogenolysis in the muscle and liver, glycolysis, the citric acid cycle, and oxidative phosphorylation in the muscle, lipolysis in the adipose tissue, and fatty acid oxidation in the muscle. So that being said, all that happens due to exercise, causing more energy to be used, causing more weight loss. It did say that endurance exercise is most popular for obese people because it's easily applicable and has high energy expenditure, but it also stated to use caution when prescribing these types of exercise because people who suffer from obesity have greater risk for cardiovascular disease and musculoskeletal injury. It also showed that resistance training alone did not clinically significantly reduce weight, but they stated that it should be in weight loss programs for people because resistance training can cause greater fat-free mass, which would increase the resting metabolic rate, so then could in turn, in the long term, cause more weight loss, and also improves a person's muscular strength, allowing them to be more physically active in their daily lifestyle, which would lead to a greater energy expenditure, which would then give greater weight loss. The next research article I looked at was a 12-week program. This one had 4 groups, a control group, which was given a placebo supplement of breadcrumbs and artificial sweetener. The reason the authors did this was because they didn't want the group to know they were the control group, so they just gave them a fake supplement and acted like it was supposed to do something. There was an aerobic group who performed 30 minutes of exercise on the treadmill 5 days a week at 60% of their heart rate reserve. A resistance group that performed 30 minutes of resistance exercise of 4 sets to 8 to 12 reps around their 10 rep max, and a combination which did 15 minutes on the treadmill and 15 minutes of resistance exercise. So the resistance group performed leg press, leg curl, leg extension, bench press, and rear delt row for 4 sets of 8. The combo group just did 2 sets, giving them, because they had less time to do it. The results of this was the combination exercise showed greater improvement in lowering total body fat percentage, android fat, and gynoid fat. And VO2 max was also improved significantly in the combination group than the aerobic and resistance groups alone, which didn't show any improvement. But the authors stated that could be due to the fact that they were focusing on weight loss and not cardiovascular fitness here. The next one was the effects of exercise on obese youth. And I chose to leave this one in because obesity is now affecting people of all ages. So I wanted to show or to see mainly if there was a difference in age, what we should prescribe as exercise. So this study was kind of similar to the other one, just different ages. So the age group for this was 14 to 18-year-olds with a BMI at or above the 95th percentile for their age and sex. It was a 26-week study, and it had a control group that didn't perform any exercise at all, an aerobic group which worked out 4 times a week for 20 to 45 minutes on either a treadmill, Stairmaster, bike, elliptical, etc. A resistance group 4 times a week, 7 exercises, 3 sets of 8, and they did not specify what lifts were incorporated there. I'm assuming it was some sort of full body. And a combination group which worked out 4 times a week and did the full program. So they did aerobic and resistance for 45 minutes each. And what they found in this study is that all methods showed improvement on reduced waist circumference, BMI, cardiovascular fitness, body fat percentage, and muscular strength. But it showed significantly greater results in the combination group than the aerobic and resistance groups combined. And one limitation with this study that I did not like was that the combination group, yes, outperformed the aerobic and resistance group, but they were also doing more exercise, pretty much double what the other groups were doing. So if the results could be kind of skewed because they were working out more, which, as that first paper said, greater energy expenditure would result in better weight loss, such as those things. The reason they stated that a combination would be better is because you're improving the aerobic system with oxidative metabolism, qualitative change in skeletal muscle fiber type, metabolic capacity, and cardiorespiratory fitness. And then when you're performing strength exercises, resistance, you improve skeletal muscle mass, fiber diameter, and increase strength. So that one being the youth, I also looked up an article on how exercise and function and how exercise affects function in obese elderly. So this one also is very similar. It didn't give me a lot of detail on what they did, just how long each group trained. So the control group was no exercise. Aerobic was 60 minutes of exercise, 10 minutes was flexibility work, 40 minutes cardio work, aerobic work, and then another 10 minutes of balance work. The resistance group did something similar. They did 10 minutes flexibility, 40 minutes resistance training, 10 minutes balance work, and then the combined group worked out 15 minutes more. They did 10 minutes flexibility, 30 aerobic, 30 resistance, 10 minutes balance work. And what they found with this study, I should have mentioned that to be included in the study, the participants had to be 65 years or older, BMI of greater than 30, and then exercise less than an hour a week. So what they used as outcome measures for this was a physical performance test, which is a test of 7 daily activity type things like walking 50 feet, putting on and removing a coat, picking up a penny, standing up from a chair, climbing stairs, and it was out of 36 out of 36 would be a perfect score. They also tested VO2 max and did a functional status questionnaire that they had. This study was 6 months. So they did a baseline and then a 6-month overview. The results was the combination exercise showed greater improvements in the physical performance test, VO2 max, and functional status questionnaire than aerobic and resistance alone. So there was improvements in all, just a greater improvement in the combination exercise, which is been kind of the trend with all these articles. It should be noted though, with a group of this age, that the resistance group was the only group that didn't have decreased bone density at the end of the 6 months, compared to combination aerobic had greater decreases in bone density. The resistance didn't change at all. It didn't get better, but it also didn't get worse. So then I looked up an article as well, being that a lot of people exercise and tend to think weight loss is the only goal or the only benefit of exercise. This one looked at exercise adaptations in the obese without significant weight loss. So what they found, there was a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes incidence, there was increased glucose tolerance, reduced fasting and postprandial glucose test, reduced fasting insulin, enhanced insulin sensitivity, reduced hemoglobin A1C. There was also reduced resting and ambulatory blood pressure, an increase in HDL and reduced triglycerides, and then reduced inflammatory markers at the end of this. Results could be found 7 to 10 days after exercising, and what they also found is that obese trained individuals showed better markers compared to non-obese untrained individuals. So just because the person was obese, as long as they're training, they're getting health benefits out of it, no matter if they're losing weight or not. So based on all the research that I've presented, future practical applications of this is when working with someone with obesity. You use a combination of aerobic and resistance exercise, but I think the main point is to just get these people moving. So a lot of people quit exercise because they don't like that activity, or so if we can form it to something that they'll be able to adhere to, it'll be a greater chance of improving their health and weight loss goals. Future study implications to this would be, I would like to see a study that showed just a longer period, like over years of research on what happens, and then taking people's biomarkers at baseline and a year of exercise, because the longest one I found was 6 months, which showed improvements. Even in the 12-week, it showed improvements, but just a longer trend to see if there's greater improvements the longer you do it. And then here's my resources, and thanks for listening.